If you can't do pull-ups yet, or at least do them well, this video is going to be your step-by-step guide. Pull-ups are definitely one of the coolest exercises, and they're a great benchmark for foundational strength. They're also a great muscle building exercise, but one of the hardest exercises to execute well. Now, if you're getting fed up and frustrated with the pull-ups, don't worry, it's probably just because you haven't been shown the process of how to build up to them. It's much like if you wanted to be a Formula 1 driver, you wouldn't just jump in the Ferrari straight away, you would learn how to drive a go-kart first. And if you're wondering why you're finding pull-ups so hard, it's because it's all about strength to weight ratio, and they're a compound exercise. So there's lots of muscles that need to work in synergy to be able to perform that exercise, and you're also fighting against gravity with your own body weight rather than an external weight as if you were doing bench press or deadlifts, for example. And this is why doing lots of lat pull down and getting strong at that exercise doesn't transfer over to being able to do pull-ups. Welcome to one of my favorite exercises, the body row. Now, the great thing about this exercise is no matter what your strength is, you'll be able to do this exercise in some form. And as you get stronger, you can make the exercise harder over time, and it's one of the best ways to building up to a pull-up. But generally, the more upright you are doing this exercise, the easier it will be. And the lower or the more horizontal you are, the harder it's going to be. And that's because you're shifting weight from your feet to your arms and your upper body. So another awesome thing about this exercise is there's 1,000,001 different ways that you can do it. You can do it holding onto a bar like this. You can do it on rings. You can do it on a TRX. Now, putting this into practice, I would first get comfortable with being able to perfectly execute 10 to 15 repetitions, 3 sets at chest height. And you can do that with the rings, TRX, or however you set it up. And then as you get stronger over time, slowly go lower and lower and lower. So you're shifting more weight into the arms and the upper body, and you're using your feet for support less and less and less. And get down to about hip height, but still being able to perform 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps really well before moving on to the next exercise. Now you've built some foundational pulling strength using specifically your own body weight, and now it's time to transfer that into the vertical plane. There's 2 ways we can do this. So the second step is to do assisted pull-ups in some form. Now, what you can do is wrap a band over the top of a bar. This is probably the most common way. Pull it down, and you can either put your knee in it or put your foot in it, depending on how stretched you want to get the band. Obviously, the more stretched you have the band, the more resistance and support it's going to give you. And then you're going to be doing pull-ups with the assistance of the band. Now, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get in and out of the band when you're trying to put your knee in it or you're trying to put your foot in it. So another way that I actually prefer, if you can, is to wrap the band horizontally around the J-hooks of the rack. And then from here, you can simply put your hands on the bar, step on the band, push it down, and then you can get the assistance that way. What's awesome about bands is obviously you've got different thicknesses. So the thicker the band, the more assistance it's going to give you. The thinner the band, the more of your own weight you're going to be lifting, and the harder it's going to be. Now, I absolutely love bands. They're super cheap. You can use them for so many different exercises. You can take them around with you if you're traveling. They're easy to store and they're easy to use. And so there's some links in the description below for some resistance bands. But if you don't have bands, you can actually still use assisted pull-ups to take us to the next step. And that's to use a box or a bench to do very similar. So what you can do is you can get into a pull-up position like this and do the exact same movement as a pull-up, but just use your legs as much or as little as you need to. So obviously the more weight going through my feet, the easier it's going to be, but I can still use my upper body. I can still get strong with my pulling strength by just lessening the amount of weight going through my feet. Whereas with the bands, you're just making the band thinner and thinner and thinner over time, so it's giving you less assistance over time. Now, you can definitely use those 2 exercises to go from 0 pull-ups to be able to do multiple pull-ups just by using the body rows and the assisted pull-ups. However, there's a couple of different exercises that we can do to help increase your strength for pull-ups. Now this third step or additional strength hack is to do negative repetitions or isometric holds. So to do this, to do negative repetitions, we're gonna use the box or a bench again. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna get up to the top of the pull-up position. Now from here, you wanna shift all of your weight into your arms and your upper body, and then slowly and controlledly step off the box and slowly lower to the floor. And then you can repeat this for repetitions by stepping back up to the top of the movement and again doing the exact same thing. Now that's obviously negative repetitions, but I also mentioned isometric holds. And often when it comes to training pull-ups, we like to do top holds for this, but you can do any phase of the movement where you're getting a sticking point. And basically you want to get to that point in the repetition and just hold it for a period of time. So a top hold, for example, is getting to the top of the pull-up and then just holding it in this position. For these isometric holds, get to a point where you can hold it for 5 to 20 seconds, have a nice rest, and then complete multiple sets, maybe 3 to 5 sets. And for the negative repetitions, because they're so powerful, I would suggest doing 3 to 5 sets of 2 to 3 repetitions. So a simple and effective way to set up a routine using these exercises would be to train a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday, and prioritizing that pulling exercise first. So if you're gonna do some other training, make sure you do it after. So the first few weeks, you wanna master the body rows to start off with. So you're gonna do 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions, and you're gonna do that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And you're gonna do this building up your strength over time, going from chest height with those rows down to hip height, before then moving on to the banded or the assisted pull-ups. So once you've mastered the body rows using that routine, you would do the exact same thing with the banded or the assisted pull-ups, aiming to get 3 to 5 sets of 5 to 10 repetitions with good form before you make that band thinner. And then on one of those days, you could throw in some negative pull-ups. So for example, on the Monday and Friday, you could do the banded pull-ups, 3 to 5 sets, 5 to 10 repetitions, but then also do 3 sets of 3 repetitions of negative rep pull-ups. Definitely be able to get to the point where you can do pull-ups using that format and just using those 2 exercises. But I have put together a 5-level system training program that's a bit more encompassing and easier for you to follow, and you can find that in the link in the description below. And that's free to use currently. It's got videos and form cues from myself, and everything's set up week by week to progress you through those levels, just to make things much easier for you to follow. And if you've got any questions or any problems, then let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.